Throughout my years of playing Siege, I've noticed a lot of new players struggle to defend effectively, especially when faced with a good team that knows how to attack. So in today's video, I'll be helping you accomplish just that. If you're a new player, strap in, because by the end of this video, you'll know how to defend like a champ. Now, the very first thing we need to address is the goal of the defenders. Especially with the current meta we are in, a lot of people get this mixed up. And no, the objective is not to eliminate the enemy team. This does win you the round, but it isn't something you should be going for. The actual goal of the defenders is to burn out the clock and to prevent the attackers from planting. Time is on your side, so play like it. I've pushed this point a lot throughout my videos, but it's true. Your KD doesn't matter. What does is stopping the plant and winning the round. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you'll be able to start climbing the ranks. Anyways, now that you understand your goal, I'm sure you're wondering how to accomplish that. Well, I'll be helping you learn that by discussing the 7 most important aspects of defending. The first is explaining the different roles on defense. The second is team composition. The third is communication and intel gathering. The fourth is tips for the prep phase. The fifth is roaming. The sixth is anchoring, and the final section will cover plant denial and site retakes. I'll be going through all of these one by one, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to defend in Rainbow Six Siege. Let's go ahead and begin with the roles of the defense. The defense is a little bit different than the attack because the defense roles are entirely based around where you will be positioned throughout the round. There are 3 main roles that you must learn. The first is your typical roamers. These bad boys play off site and act as a first line of defense, slowing the attackers down. As for the other 2 roles on defense, we have the soft anchor and the hard anchor. The main difference between these 2 being that a soft anchor plays slightly off site, typically in a power position, and a hard anchor plays directly on the bomb site and hunkers down for the whole round. I'll go more in depth with all of these roles later in the video, but I just wanted to get these terms down so you understand the conversation that I have throughout the video. Now, the next session we can move on to is, coincidentally, team composition. This is an extremely important aspect of any defensive round because if you don't have the right tools for the job, you'll have a much harder time winning the round. Typically, in any defensive round, you want to have at least 1 roamer and 1 soft anchor. Having more than 3 people play on the bomb site is going to cause you to lose the round. I would go as far as to say that 2 hard anchors is a bit extreme. The reason for this is because if you don't have enough players playing off-site, you'll be giving the attackers what's called free map control. This basically means that you'll be leaving parts of the map completely undefended, allowing attackers to gain control of it free of challenge. When you give the attackers map control like this, it saves them a ton of time. This is why plenty of roamers and soft anchors are important. Some good candidates to bring for the roaming role are Solace, Oryx, or Vigil, but you don't have to bring operators with roaming gadgets. Realistically, any operator that is a 2 or 3 speed will work for the roaming role. Then some good operators for filling the anchoring role includes anyone that is a 3 or 2 armor with a lot of utility. For example, Smoke, Cade, Azami, Wamai, Castle, and Doc are all extremely popular and useful operators to have near the bomb site. But you can realistically have anyone on or around the site. The possibilities are completely up to you. Just make sure you aren't placing all your 3 speeds in the bomb site and all your 3 armors off to the roam. As long as you aren't doing that, you should be fine. Moving past your team composition, it's now time to get into the meat and potatoes of any given round, that being your team communication. These tips realistically apply to both attack and defense, but since communication is so important in Siege, I think these tips are worth covering. First off, throughout the round, you need to be constantly talking to your team. This may seem self-explanatory to most of you, but a lot of people just refuse to call out to their team. Every time you hear an enemy, you kill someone, or the enemies destroy something, you need to inform your team. If your teammates don't know that a wall is breached or they don't know that a window is open, they may make a play that results in them getting killed. However, when communicating with your team, make sure to keep it civil. When you die, don't get mad at your team, and definitely don't blame them for a lost round. This will just cause them to play worse, and it will spread toxicity into your team. Outside of that, just make sure you're communicating any information you get, and you should be fine. Okay, well now I'm sure you're wondering, what should I be doing in the prep phase? Well, this is when you should be placing your utility, reinforcements, and making rotates to prepare the bomb site for the attacker's push. If you want a more in-depth guide on site setups, I literally have a 5-hour video on my channel going over my favorite site setups for every bomb site. But I'll go ahead and give you the basics in this video as well. In general, reinforcing between the bomb sites is a bad idea. This is because you want to make rotate holes in between the bomb sites so that you can freely move between them. If you reinforce the walls between the site, then the attackers, once they get control of a bomb site, can just plant without having to worry about your team retaking whatsoever. So rotate holes are key to a defensive strat. Also, any outside walls should be reinforced and electrified no matter what bomb site you're on. This is because if the attackers get it open, they'll be able to easily cut off your team from playing inside the bomb site. So you want to delay them from getting it open as much as possible. Hatches into the bomb site should receive the same treatment as well. Unless you plan on holding the bomb site from above, reinforcing and electrifying the hatches can delay or outright stop the attackers from entering the bomb site from above. Outside of these general rules, you'll just have to learn from experience the best way to set up every site. Because if I went in depth on this topic, this video would be 6+ hours long. But as long as you take the general rules I laid out into account, you should be on the right track for a great prep phase. Once the prep phase is over though, it is now time for you to fill the job of whatever role you're playing. The first role I'll be teaching you how to play is roaming. A common misconception about roaming is that you sit in a corner and wait to flank the enemy when they aren't looking. This may work at lower ranks, but once you get into Platinum or Emerald, this won't work anymore. The true way to roam is to play in an area where the attackers are normally looking to start their initial push. Some great examples of this are Library on Villa when you're playing on the Aviator bomb site, or Cigar when you're playing on the Kitchen bomb site on Cafe. The reason why these roams are so strong is because it forces the attackers to deal with you. If the attackers want to push through Study on Villa, they have to clear you out from below, because if they don't, you can flank up the stairs or nitro them from below. And if they try to push the backside through 90, you can just rotate to flank them as well. You are absolutely forcing them to drone you out from below by playing in this position. And with Cigar on Cafe, the same applies. Because if the attackers want to play vertically above Kitchen, they will have to clear the top floor to ensure they don't get flanked. Another way you can roam is by playing below the bomb site, like my Villa example, to punish the attackers once they push the site. This can be done with operators like Pulse and Valkyrie, and you can use their nitro cells to pick up free kills from below. A great bomb site to do this on is Armory Lockers on Border. You can roam inside server on this bomb site and be able to instantly nitro any planter that tries to plant in the bomb site. This kind of roam is extremely dependent on the map, however. Some maps don't have any destructible floors, and so obviously on those maps, this strat won't be applicable. Also, I see a lot of players who roam below with Pulse or Valkyrie, watch as their anchors start to die, but will hold their ground. While this will get you a free kill with your nitro cell, a lot of the time if your anchors are saying they need help, you should probably just go back to site. Now I know what you're likely asking. What is the point of roaming? And this is where a lot of players are wrong. A majority of the player base thinks that roamers are meant to get the kills for their team. This is a side effect of a lot of roamers having good guns and being the first operators the attackers encounter. However, this is quite the opposite. Roamers are actually meant to burn out the clock and waste the attacker's drone economy. Kills are just a secondary effect of being a roamer. You do not want to be that guy that tries to get an early kill and dies because he overpeaked. You need to focus on holding your ground for as long as possible. If you feel as though you're going to die soon, that's when you finally rotate. Knowing when to fall back is one of the most important skills of roaming, and this will just come with time. The more you roam, the better you'll get at gauging when to fall back. However, you also don't want to be ignored. If the attackers aren't pushing you and your anchors are telling you they're pushing somewhere else, you should probably reposition or fall back. This is why roaming is one of the most difficult roles for newer players to understand, because it takes a lot of skill to know when rotating is the best decision. Anyways, now that you understand how roaming works, I'm sure you're wondering, how do you anchor? Well, this is a much simpler task. If you are soft anchoring, or how some people call it, shallow roaming, your entire job is to hold whatever power position you're playing in for as long as possible. For example, the top of main stairs is a pretty common power position for the defenders to hold. Putting a shield down on the top of the stairs and some ADSs to protect you during the prep phase is a good idea. Then you can just sit behind the shield and delay the attackers from pushing into the study or up the stairs. There are plenty more examples of these power positions like Pixel and Bakery on Cafe, Garage on Clubhouse, or Warehouse on Night Haven. And when defending all of these positions, your goal is to waste as much time as possible. Nothing more. Don't feel pressured to get kills. If you manage to waste 2 minutes of the attacker's time, that is plenty of value. Also, just like when roaming, if you feel like you're at risk of dying soon, falling back and giving the attackers the position to save your life is a smart move. The more you play the soft anchoring role, the better you'll get at gauging when to do this, just like when roaming. But if you follow these general rules, you should adapt to the role pretty quickly. Now, when fully anchoring on the site, this is even easier. Since you're tucked away in the bomb site, your job at the start of the round should be to hop on cams and give your roamers and soft anchors as much intel as possible. Hop on the outside cams and call out where the attackers spawn and where the attackers are pushing, so that your roamers have plenty of time to rotate and prepare for them. This also will help your soft anchors be ready for whatever's to come. And until someone on your team dies as an anchor, you should be periodically checking cameras to take advantage of any intel you can get. But once someone dies on your team, they can start filling the role of hopping on the cameras. Then outside of that, your job is to just shut down any direct rush strategies the attackers try to do, and to stop the attackers from getting a plant down later in the round. It's really that simple. Now, since we've gone through every role in the game and you understand the basics, I want to go over one of the more complicated topics, that being site retakes. If you don't know what a site retake is, this is basically when the attackers get control of a bomb site and they get the plant down, and the defenders have to take back control of the bomb site to stop the diffuser. This is a very difficult task, and most of the time you will lose these rounds. However, I do have some tips to help you be more successful. First off, if you have a low man count, you need to play like it. Start getting aggressive. There is no way you will stop the diffuser by playing passively. Aggression is going to be the key to catching the attackers off guard and to hopefully evening out the man count. Also, if you have a teammate alive, work together. I see teams in clutch situations separate all too often. You want to try to force the attackers to take a 2-on-1 gunfight. And if you start splitting up and taking ones, you're going to give the attackers a huge advantage. Then if you somehow manage to make it to the diffuser, one of you should focus on disabling the diffuser while the rest of your team is focused on covering you. Outside of the tips I've given you, you'll just have to hope that the enemy team makes some sort of mistakes. Because if they play perfectly, there is no way any retake you do is going to be successful. So just try to take advantage of any mistakes they make and try to get that diffuser disabled. Anyways, hopefully you guys found today's video useful. If you did, I make Siege content just like this twice a week, so go subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter if you don't want to miss the next upload. Also, if you want to be involved in future videos, go ahead and join up in the Discord. I'm thinking about starting a VOD review series on my channel, and I want to have you guys in the Discord so that way you can send me your VODs and so I can make videos on them. Now, if you want to watch another video just like this one, it'll be popping up on your screen right now that I'm sure you'll enjoy. I'll see you next time, friends, and peace.